Evo scan. Let's go ahead and data log. Throw into gear here. And we are good to go. That felt good right there. Let's go ahead and stop. Go ahead and shut it down real quick here. And we'll check out what kind of power it made. It should be pretty similar to what we saw before. And we're finding it's pretty much identical. We see here we're at 320 torque and 427 horsepower. So you can pretty much overlay it. We did squeeze a little bit more torque out with a higher boost level the previous pool, but obviously went into clutch slip. So by running a little less boost, we're finding that we're not getting that slip, and that's really the most important thing here. So again, if I had upgraded clutch packs, I would just try to keep bumping up the boost, and I would probably also have larger injectors so that when I went into flex fuel, I was able to really start to crank things up. But let's go in here and just look at this in an alternate view so we can see this graph. We can see how smooth everything looks. Nice and smooth. This is just an alternate view for the dyno. This is more of a dyno jet type of graph. So we see we're getting full boost right around 38, 4,000, and we're carrying it all the way out here to almost 77, 78, and we probably would keep carrying it if I kept revving it higher. Stock engines, I like to stop revving them right about 78, so that way we don't have any kind of valve float or any problems. But incredibly flat torque curve. Again, that was on purpose so that we were able to make good high RPM power but not stress out the clutch packs. We can actually do an overlay here and actually see the comparison to our previous pools. So we can take a look here. Let's go and that's probably one of the last pools. So we're finding here that comparing these two, we're finding that is the top end power that we're seeing here, the difference. So we're probably seeing about a 50, 60 wheel horsepower difference by ramping our boost up at high engine speeds and keeping our torque nice and flat. And we do see a little bit of a difference down here. It looks like there's a spool difference. That's probably likely the way that I'm initiating the runs here. I am on a different day. I have the dyno set just slightly different in the load settings. This is most likely a load setting difference that we're finding here. We're not actually losing that much difference in power, so that's not to be concerned with. But what we're finding is that the high engine speeds, that's really what we're focusing on. That's where we made our changes here. That's going to be the difference. Very large difference. Again, probably about 50, 60 wheel. So it's worthwhile going through this exercise and this process to be able to get to that power level we're at. So we're about 430. That's good. I'm happy with that. Let's jump in and take a look at the data log, make sure everything looks safe, see if we need to make any further little adjustments or tweaks to our calibration file. Let's open up our last Evo scan data log. And we're finding it's good. We see no knock. That's solid at that boost level, and the boost is going to about 25, 26 pounds. We see the wastegate duty cycle is still hitting about 77% duty cycle, 76% duty cycle, so it's up there. Air fuel air looks pretty good here. Looks pretty straight in terms of that air, not finding any kind of large dips or spikes. And it's pretty close to the target, so we're either slightly above the target in the air fuel or slightly below it, but our target's 11.4 dropping to 11.0 air fuel. That works out pretty well for most bolt-on Evos. They respond better to having the air fuel a little richer up top. Usually I start to see knock activity if I start to allow it to run at 11.4, 11.5 target up top. That's why I richen it up a little bit. If I dropped it to a leaner mixture, I would probably be able to go in and have the duty cycle drop. Now, we might get in some of that trickery when we go into flex fuel tuning. We are able to run a little bit leaner mixture on flex without knock occurring because there's very good knock suppression properties with the ethanol fuel. We'll experiment with that when we take a look. But what we're finding here is that load looks pretty good. Load calc diff is showing everything looks like it's in line right there. The duty cycle, so we see here, it's showing that it's taking out 2% correction here. 66% duty cycle is what it's actually at with a 2% adjustment. If it's 2% adjusting the duty cycle, that means we're pretty close. And then the other 2-3% duty cycle correction is coming from the intake air temp correction, because the air temp's 50, 55 degrees in here. It's very cold, and we're finding it's correcting with that RAX IT wastegate duty cycle correction patch, which works very well. So this all looks good. Now, if I'm noticing at the top here, I am starting to see some slip at the very high engine speed. we're getting about 54% slip. I don't like to see much higher than about a 10% slip all throughout the run here. It looked pretty good in terms of our slip. And we're finding here, looks like there was a touch bit of slip right here. Right here was about a 37% slip. I didn't feel it or notice it during the pool. And up top here at the very, very high engine RPM, so at the very peak of the pool, about 76, right when I'd make a shift happen, we're just seeing that slip happen right there. So that's hitting about 40%, depending on where we're at here. I'll have to see how it performs off the chassis dyno. I might have to turn the boost down just slightly up there to avoid the slip. We want to see less than 10% slip. So again, with the stock clutch packs, we're dealing with how much biting pressure they have. Now we do see that the clutch pressure even here was showing about 130. So technically we might be able to go and tweak some of the clutch pressure settings to be able to try to ramp that up. Let's look at that real quick. So we are at here about, let's just say 270, 280 in the load.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.